episode. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, it's Boozing with Jude, and I haven't been boozing yet. I'm going to make a really great drink. I mean, it's autumn, and today it's the perfect example of why I hate autumn. It's dreary. It has rained. It has been high winds. All the beautiful colors that everybody's like, oh, it's so beautiful. Those leaves are laying on the ground and they're all trampled now. You know, you get colors for a couple days and then the crappy weather comes along. Excuse my language. But the one good thing about autumn is that I do love autumn cocktails. And I'm going to make maybe my favorite today. It's the pumpkin old fashioned. Yeah, yeah. So to some people, it's actually old fashioned week. But I think that's mostly like marketers of bourbon who are like, trying to sell their bourbon, so they're calling it Old Fashioned Week. Well, I'm calling it Pumpkin Old Fashioned Week, and here we go. This is my favorite of the pumpkin drinks. So, an old fashioned, you would normally use bourbon. Some people use rye. I'm going to use rye today. And why, Jude? Well, because it's got a little spiciness that's going to go with some of the other things that I'm going to put in it. So what's different between the old fashioned and the pumpkin old fashioned? Well, pumpkin puree for one, but here's the key. This. Jude, what's that? This is simple syrup. Now, if you haven't learned anything from me but this is a good tip. You can flavor your simple syrup any way you want. And so what I've put in here is a cinnamon stick and, I almost said vegetable bean. No, vanilla bean. And I let them simmer, and that's why there's some like little black vanilla-y things floating around in here. And those are going to get in the drink. I'm going to double strain it, but there's no way to keep them out, but that's okay because we love vanilla. So things that you might think would go great with pumpkin pie, right? So this is a great thing. I'll put the recipe in the end credits, and you can do that, but you can put anything you want in simple syrup. You've seen me do ginger, thyme, orange. You can flavor it with lavender if you can get some, whatever you want that will go with your cocktail. So this stuff is so good. You could drink it straight, just pour it on the rocks and pretend it's a cocktail, but I wouldn't recommend it. So the one thing I'm going to say is I'm going to dedicate this tonight. I'm going to use a rocks glass. We're going to put it on the rocks and shake it. And this is my Slovakian crystal glass. I have quite a few of them that I got in London when I lived there. Not that I'm bragging. But because I was fortunate enough to meet the wife of the Slovakian ambassador, she was very kind to me, and then in turn her husband, the Slovakian ambassador, and they let me come to the embassy when they were having their Slovakian crystal sort of sale where they brought in all sorts of Slovakian crystal, and I loved it. So this is one of my favorite glasses. It's got little diamond things on it. I don't think they're real, but little crystals. So I'm going to dedicate it to them because I hear that Mr. Ambassador is going to be moving from London to Moscow. And I'll tell you what, if he hates winter as much as I do, well, have fun. Sorry about that. But I think it's a great move for him, and so congratulations. So I'm going to make the pumpkin old fashioned for Lubomir and Donna Rehak. Okay, those folks. Here you go. So how do we do this? We're going to put it in a tin, shake it up, and then put it on ice. I'm going to put this back in my little thing to chill up. So let's get going here and get going with the pumpkin. So what are we going to do? I'm going to use rye. You can use bourbon. Use something that you enjoy. Think about the flavors that are going to go in here. And I'm going to use the orange liqueur. And today I'm going to go to the top again, the Grand Marnier. Then we're going to do this. Now, normally I would do 1 ounce of maple syrup. I love the maple syrup, so I'm going to do half of the maple syrup, which looks like, bourbon. And I'm going to do half of the simple syrup with the vanilla bean and the cinnamon stick in it. The cinnamon stick is no longer in it, but that's what I use to simmer it. And then we'll put in some bitters and some little spices, and we'll be good to go. Bob's your uncle, some puree, etc. So let's get ready. So we're going to take our tin. We're going to start with the good stuff, and we're going to do 1.5 ounces of our rye or your bourbon. Take your pick, okay? And I'm using Bullet again because I like it. Pronounce it like the ammunition, son. There we go. And then we're going to do 1/2 ounce of your orange liqueur. You can use Grand Marnier, you can use Courvoisier, you can use, triple sec, I suppose. Remember the Grand Marnier is cognac based. It's a little richer. I like it in this drink, so, take your pick. But I'm going all the way to the top here. I really love Grand Marnier, I have to say. My early episodes, I made drinks like margaritas and stuff and said, I wish I had some Grand Marnier to put in it. Well, now I do. It's almost gone, but I'm pretty happy to drink anything with Grand Marnier in it. So then, okay, we're going to do 1/2 ounce of Isla Crown maple syrup, was the Madagascar vanilla infused maple syrup. I'm going to do 1/2 ounce of that and 1/2 ounce of simple syrup. So you can do, instead, if you don't want to make the simple syrup, you can do an entire ounce of the maple syrup, or you can do an entire ounce of simple syrup if you infuse it up a bit like I did, and skip the maple syrup. Either way, you should do an ounce of something to sweeten it, okay? So, and then I'm going to do, for me, because I'm just really excited about this, whoa, I'm so excited I almost dropped it. We're going to do 1/2 ounce of this simple syrup. Or syrup. It's really thick. Oh, folks, you know, I'm not kidding you. Make this up and just, you know what, when I was like simmering it, the whole house smelled good. Oh my God. So it almost made me think fall was awesome, but it's not. Okay, so there's that. Now, because it's pumpkin-y, we're going to take pumpkin puree. Now, not pumpkin pie filling, just pumpkin puree. I'm just going to do a big old teaspoonful. Some recipes call for 2. I think 1's sufficient. Take your pick. And then I'm going to take a few little spices that you would normally put in pumpkin pie. So I've got the pumpkin pie spice. Just going to do a dash of that. Whew, that's a pretty big dash. It's going to taste very pumpkin-y. And I'm going to take a little bit of nutmeg. I could put it on the top, but you know, the old-fashioned isn't like a thick drink that, you know, it just, you know, it's going to sit on top and sort of like not look pretty. If you did something like foamy or with whipped cream, you know, I would say put the nutmeg on the top, but I'm just going to, I finally found whole nutmegs, by the way. I'm just going to, you know, take a little bit and put it in there. You don't have to go crazy. I like the whole nutmegs. You know, so I had to actually, you know, order it online because none of my stores had it. Okay, so got a little pumpkin pie spicy stuff in there, and then we're going to take our bitters, Angostura bitters. Now, you could also use orange bitters. Take your pick. I'm going to put 3 to 4 dashes in here really quickly. Okay, and then we're going to ice it up, shake it up, and see how it tastes. So, take my glass and put some ice in here. I'm going to end up using my hands, as usual. I need to find a better way. You know what I need? I need an ice machine. Yeah. Anybody want to send me an ice maker? I would love that. Not that I have the room for it, but hey, there you go. So, do that. Pull out my glass. We're going to get it. Another thing you could do, and I'm not going to do it because I'm not overly crazy about sweet, as you know, is you could again, like take some cinnamon sugar, cinnamon nutmeg sugar or whatever, and you could, you know, douse the rim in maple syrup and then just like put some of that sugar along the edge of the glass. That would be nice. I've done that before if you're having people over. But I'm just going to go straight and put it in there. So let's shake it until the cows come home. I'm going to give this a good shake because both of those syrups are pretty thick. And we got that pumpkin pie, or excuse me, that pumpkin puree in there, and that's pretty thick. Okay, so let's go. Okay, that was about 20 seconds worth. You really do have to give it a good shake though, because you want to get all that stuff kind of mixed up in there. And then, because of the puree and, you know, some of the other stuff that's in there, I'm going to double strain it. You don't have to double strain it, like I said, but I think it's going to be a bit thick because of the pumpkin puree. So we'll double strain this in. It's going slowly, so it is pretty thick. Any day now, folks. I'm tired from all that shaking. Wow, it is thick. So what I need is a, oh, I don't know, something to, you know, get that in the glass. What do you suggest? I suggested putting it on pause and getting it in there, so there we go. But you see why you want to double strain, unless you really like all that thick stuff in there. So here we go. Now, I would garnish this with like an orange peel or a cinnamon stick, but quite frankly, I'm going straight today. It just looks really good. So here we go. I'm going to say to Lubomir and Donna, my Slovakian crystal, the people in Slovakia. Hope things are going well there, and salute. This is great. I'm sorry. Don't even look. I just have to drink. Oh my God, I love this. So, if you like pumpkin, if you like cinnamon, if you like spicy autumn flavors, this is the way to go. Yeah, it certainly is. So I would recommend it 100% for your next old-fashioned gathering. Throw some pumpkin stuff in it. You'll enjoy it. And until next time, folks, have a great one. We'll catch you in the next episode of Boozing with Jude. Get a chance, subscribe. I'd love it. If you get a chance, leave a comment on my YouTube channel. I'd love it. Tell me what you think about my long hair. I'd love it. We'll catch you next time. Peace.